Well, hey, party people! It's Cliff. Good morning. It is a gloomy day, but it is the day that the lighting is actually really good. Hey, you are what you eat. You heard that old saying? I'm gonna upgrade that. You are what you consume, and that means data, and that means people in your life, and that means hopefully that also means I'm not gonna hit anybody when I'm coming out of the thing. But you are what you consume. You know, if you watch, uh, if you watch videos all day about a certain subject, you're probably gonna be, either aligned with that subject or hate that subject. What's going? Oh, I gotta go. All right, let's do it. He's sick. He's turning anyway. It sounds good. But yeah, you are what are blah, blah, blah. You are what you consume. And that's pretty much the idea. I'll just elaborate on it. If you're a car guy, like I used to be, I remember there was a long time ago where I drove a Honda, another one, and lowered it, put rims on it, did the whole high school thing. This guy just cut in front of everybody. But did the whole high school thing and, lower, like, put the exhaust on it, all that stuff. And then tried to, make some friends or join up with a crew, And there was rules to join this crew, right? Everybody, silly kids, they're all young and dumb, and I was young and dumb. But it was like, it was like I didn't like. I had to have rules. I had to have rules to hang out with friends. I had to have rules to do this. So I never hung out with them, but I always hung out with like the good folks, or friends who I have today, who are really good people. Engineers and scientists, I guess you could say, and a couple of lawyers, a couple of bankers, and just hang out with them. But at the time, knew them in high school, knew them in college, and kept a really good, just kept people in my life that mattered, and like that crew with like all the lowered cars, like, oh yeah, that was a requirement that you had to do something to your car once or twice everything a month, every month, like big or small. And I'm like, I don't need to do that. Car's perfectly fine if I configured it the way I liked it. So didn't fall into that group, and actually didn't like the car community long ago. And then but yeah, fell out of that, but found some really good people, friends who I consider to this day. And yeah, never looked back, because those people had integrity and they were really good. Just good personalities. And eventually, as you consume all the things in your life, you're going to adapt to what you consume to. Just like I'm going to adapt to consume this. It's blowing my nose. AI is never going to do this. They're never going to have somebody blow their nose. Maybe they will when they train it, but it's going to look all weird. And then it's not going to, all the tissues and the napkins are not going to be all right. And then you can tell any sort of complex thing you can't do. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like everything you consume, like food being one of them. I'm not the best at it. Like, you can look at me, I'm not the best at it. Trying to get better. Friends, their opinions, anyone who's like any sort of celebrity, or even watching this YouTube, it's like, if you want to consume one of the thoughts that I have to make your life better, that's great. If not, that's also great too. Like, and really the whole point of kind of figuring out what to consume is part of life. You can be tricked, into consuming bad stuff. You can be tricked into consuming like stuff that's bad, that's bad for you, but that's good in the moment, drugs being one of them. I'm not opposed to anybody using them. You can do whatever you want, but at the same, like, I don't do any of that shit. Like, I'd rather, my drug of choice is fast food. So good. Why are these people cutting in each other? Like, I don't get it either. Maybe it's that hustle culture. Maybe you consume a lot of videos about, oh, you gotta wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning and go down to the beach and run for 50, 70 miles in order to make it to, the next level. And, you gotta put in 1,000 calls a day or whatever to these hustle cultures, this, gotta make the sale, gotta keep hustling, gotta keep going, wake up. It's like, all right, well, if you consume all that information, all that info, and, you live that life, and you buy those, books, and you buy those, like, business plans or whatever, like, yeah, that's what you turn into. So, yeah, and I guess the world, like, rewards, right, because in basic economics, right, you have supply and demand, and then you have making stuff and then consumption. I don't know, I forget the technical term of it, but if you make stuff or provide a good or a service, that's what it boils down to. It doesn't need to be anything complex. It doesn't need to be anything like crazy. It's, what is it? Occam's razor. The best explanation in life is a simple one. That's not how the saying goes, but it's like, keep it simple. KISS. Keep it simple. Or keep it simple, stupid. That's what it was. And that's what it is, right? If you're actively, like, watching, I guess the way that I do it, right, is like, eventually, after a doom scrolling session, you look at it and you realize, like, man, I don't want to watch any of this. Like, my mind is checked out. I don't care what anyone has to say, and you check out. And I suppose to recognize when the doom scrolling starts to happen, because you're going to get an emotional reaction, an emotional high to whatever it is you're doing, rather than a logical and a process thing. Yeah. All these small businesses, I don't know how they stay open, but they do. Oh, man. Oh, lottery's over $1 billion. No wonder. Like, it's funny. There's this one lottery guy on YouTube I follow, and maybe it's one of those, I guess there's nothing wrong with, like, consuming a little bit of, like, entertainment here and there. Don't get sucked up into it. But there's this lottery lawyer guy, and he talks about what to do if you win the lottery. And man, that's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword when you have, when you get wealth and when you get money. And I've seen it. I've seen it happen in my field of work, because as an editor, there are celebrities in the documentary space that are living in that, in that kind of world. And don't think I could say the names or the shows yet, because I still work for the big studio still. That's okay. But they're like they're the top of the top in their game, in their field. The music business, the acting business, and we've actually had to turn down some AAA actors because the ideas that they presented, like, while it's cool, you would probably watch the show, but the show has been done countless times, and it's like, oh, we're gonna do this show again. And remember, Hollywood doesn't like it when something is old, or that type of thing. So, but then again, we've sold TV shows where the talent in person, it's basically like, we have this person, to do this particular documentary things on, give us money to do the show. And the networks are like, yes, by all means, here you go. You know, there was on one of the shows, BMW paid the talent $40,000 just to drive around their like whatever, their newest BMW that wasn't even on the market yet. Drive it around LA, you know, and we would film it for the TV show. Isn't that crazy? Like, you know, and I guess like if you're surrounded by the people, you know, there's a YouTube guy who's just been around like super dumb rich people, and I say dumb as in like that's just so rich that and so wealthy that just like there's a different way of thinking, and being like close or in the same vicinity as like these celebrities and these network executives, and you know, it gives you a different perspective, and you realize at one, it's like, yeah, that's why everyone does YouTube. You know, that's why everybody has an Instagram account or a TikTok account, is because that level of fame, you know, opens up so many doors, and gives you an easier way of doing things. I guess not easier way, but just the access to like all the cool things, like the Met Gala that happened the other day, like all of that stuff, or win an Oscar. Well, gotta stop. He's got an emergency to go to. You know, that's another thing too with YouTube videos. I've always seen them like, you either get the YouTube videos, well, hey buddy, you either get the YouTube videos that are, you know, of rich millionaires and they always want to sell a program to you, or you get the YouTubers that are like down on their luck, you know, they're living in their car, or van life, or, you know, living off grid. But you never see any YouTubers who are just like right in the middle, normal. I guess you do, like if it's gaming people, you know, people playing video games, because that's like basically normal. You know, you have a job, you go home, like stream some video games, and then, you know, you rinse and repeat, I guess. But in essence, like I suppose the lesson with normal is that, you know, with that ambulance that's going by, like if you're driving along the road and you see an emergency vehicle, and this is in the States and probably in other countries too, you're going to stop for that emergency vehicle. And when you stop for that emergency vehicle and everybody else stops for that emergency vehicle, I want you to take into account that everyone else like understands what's going on. Everybody else has a little bit of empathy. This guy like behind me just cut off another guy. Oh man. I don't know what's happening with traffic today, but it's going crazy. Check out this car. That's a good looking one. Hey. But look, at the end of the day, it's I'd say at the end of the day, the idea is that, you know, I forgot what my idea is. Maybe that's it, right? I'm not like doing bad. I'm not like the best in the world, but I get by and everything's fine. And I guess I try to consume normal stuff. You know, you consume normal stuff. You're a normal person, a person, you know, with a clever mind and a good head on their shoulders. And eventually, you know, it's one of those things where don't slow down, man. Don't slow down. Oh boy. What's gonna happen? I can make it around this guy. There we go. Of course, nobody in the parking lot. That's all right. But anyway, just be normal, you know? That's what I got for you today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time.